They say to only bring what you can carry. So with the all-new 2025 Ford Expedition Tremor, bring a lot. Like 3 dirt bikes, a few tents, an entire crew ready to make memories. A panoramic 24-inch display, and the confidence to push your limits. The all-new 2025 Ford Expedition Tremor.
Always consult the owner's manual before off-road driving. Know your terrain and trail difficulty and use appropriate safety gear. Max payload varies based on accessories and vehicle configuration. See label on door jamb for carrying capacity of a specific vehicle. Always properly secure cargo.
This episode is brought to you by Dogfish Head Craft Brewery. The Grateful Dead and Dogfish Head have gotten the band back together with the release of Grateful Dead Juicy Pale Ale, a light-bodied pale ale brewed with sustainable Kernza grains, granola, and heaps of good karma for a refreshing brew that's music to your taste buds. Available nationwide. Visit dogfish.com to find Grateful Dead Juicy Pale Ale in your neck of the woods. Dogfish Head Craft Brewery is located in Milton, Delaware. Please drink responsibly.
Sam Antar is a very interesting individual. Once the centerpiece of one of the largest SEC frauds in American history, Sam paid his debt to society and reemerged as one of the country's leading fraud investigators, using his keen forensic and accounting skills to pinpoint fraud in both public and private institutions, with a special eye on politicians, who we all know to be among the most corrupt members of our society. It was Sam Antar who first uncovered the serial mortgage fraud by New York's Attorney General, Letitia James. She tried to brush that away by telling the New York Times that these were simply typographical errors, which of course is nonsensical. Sam Antar is a man who keeps receipts. What I really like about his website, which you can see by going to whitecollarfraud.com, whitecollarfraud.com, is that Sam links the actual documents to all of his reporting. So you can see yourself that he's just not making representations. He shows you the actual fraudulent documents that he refers to. And it is therefore particularly interesting that he joins us today, because we woke up to news that Bill Pulte, who took action in the Letitia James case by sending a letter of criminal referral to the U.S. Justice Department, which resulted in the appointment of a special counsel to investigate mortgage fraud. That would be Ed Martin, Deputy Attorney General, now investigating mortgage fraud by both Letitia James and Senator Adam Schiff. Appears to me that he will now also, therefore, be investigating the alleged mortgage fraud by Lisa Cook. Now, Lisa Cook is not a name that is known widely to the American public, but she is on the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve. Now, in America, you're innocent until proven guilty, but I think Sam Antar will tell you this. The fraud investigators at the Federal Home Finance Administration are very serious about their jobs. They don't make criminal referrals for political reasons. They make criminal referrals based on the facts. So, Sam, welcome back into the Stone Zone. Your reaction to the news that Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook may have committed a criminal offense by falsifying, in this case, allegedly, according to Bloomberg this morning, falsifying bank documents and property records in order to acquire more favorable loan terms.
I looked at the documents, and she is, in my opinion, she's as guilty as stated. First, you have Ann Arbor, Michigan property, okay? That property, she said that she was going to occupy it within 60 days. That's right in the mortgage, okay? And she said that it was going to be her primary residence, okay? Then, about 2 weeks later, she enters into another mortgage that she said on a condominium that she says it's going to be her primary residence too. Now, you can't have two primary residences. You have one primary residence, and that's it. There's nothing to dispute here. The way this information looks to me, she committed mortgage fraud, period.
What is it with these politicians that think they can get away with this? I suspect we're going to hear about a lot more of them. To me, if I did this or if you did this, I think we both know what the result would be. Yet they seem to think that they're an elite class of protected individuals who can do whatever they want. If you would, just walk us through very quickly what you discovered about Letitia James, because it's very, very similar.
Well, it's similar in it's similar in that it's mortgage fraud. With Tish James, she had a building in Brooklyn that she owned and occupied. She claimed it had 4 units when it actually had 5 according to the certificate of occupancy. That allowed Tish James to obtain favorable terms on 10 mortgages over 20 or so years, period. On another property in Virginia, she claimed that, this is right before the Trump trial, she claimed that she was going to use it as her primary residence. She didn't, okay? That was a false statement to the bank. Earlier, 2 weeks earlier, she claimed she wasn't going to use it as a primary residence, and she claims the later statement was a mistake. It was witnessed by 2 people in her own office. One of the people was very, very involved in the Trump lawsuit. So she another cut and dry case. All of these cases are cut and dry. Lisa Cook, Letitia James is cut and dry. There's nothing to dispute. The documents speak for themselves. The documents are public documents. Anybody can see the progression of the documents. This is not rocket science.
It is, I don't think, an understatement to say, without the groundbreaking research published by Sam Antar at his website, whitecollarfraud.com, and the fact that elementary research got picked up by reporters like Joel Gilbert at the Gateway Pundit, we probably would not have the appointment of a special counsel, Ed Martin, to now look into these issues. This, I think, is a direct example of how one citizen determined to get to the truth can really make a major difference in the world today. Sam has also been a very articulate critic of the candidacy of the Ayatollah Zoran Mamdani. They tell us that Mamdani's come from behind shocking win in the Democrat primaries, people power, that this was grassroots generated, and that it was Mamdani standing up to the dark money and to the special interests. But then, in Mamdani's initial campaign finance filing with the New York City Board of Elections, the filing showed just the opposite. In fact, I looked at Sam Antar's work, and it appears to me that despite the fact that he got, at this point, probably millions of hits on Instagram, on Facebook, on X, on Snapchat, and so on, virtually no one pushed the donate button on his website. All of his money came from bundlers, particularly one particular bundler. Once that news broke through Sam's terrific website, whitecollarfraud.com, and was publicized here in the Stone Zone, well, then Mamdani's campaign went out and completely restated their campaign finance reports to completely contradict the first report. Personally, I think the first report was the truth. Then, this is almost laughable, they threatened to sue Sam Antar, to which I say, good luck with that. Sam Antar is the most meticulous researcher I've come across in the 50 years I've been in American politics. He never says anything that he can't absolutely, positively prove with the actual records. But now, perhaps the biggest story yet pertaining to the New York City mayor's race is the fact that the Mamdani phenomena that they keep touting as grassroots is actually funded by an interlocking series of political organizations and nonprofits that are legally prohibited by law and by their tax status from engaging in political activity. Sam has a shocking new report, got picked up by Zero Hedge, among others, that shows that there's a syndicate that was behind Mamdani's election. Sam, lay this out for us.
Okay. First of all, you have to understand the tax law. There's 501c3s. Those are charities. You give the money to the charity, you get a tax deduction. And then there are 501c4. Those are political organizations. You can't give money to them directly and get a tax deduction. So how do they do it? They wash it. You give money to a 501c3. You transfer it to a 501c3 transfers it to a 501c4, and therefore you get the tax deduction. I've called on the IRS, and I have filed the complaint to do a significant investigation of this entire thing. They need a task force to investigate all of these nonprofits. As I laid out in my blog in detail, this is a syndicate that of interlocking management and interlocking personnel and money going back and forth. If you want, I'll give you an example. Okay? Soros donates money to the Open Society Institute. That's one of his charities. It's a 501c3. He gets a tax deduction. Step 2, Open Society Institute, which is a 501c3 charity, sends $6.9 million to the Tides Foundation, which is also a Section 501c3 charity. Step 3, Tides, which is the 501c3 charity, sends $4.6 million to the Working Families Organization. That's a 501c4 political group. Now you got money from charities to politics that's been fully tax deductible. Okay? The Working Families Organization takes that money and sends it to PACs and super PACs and etc. supporting their candidates. When you look at Mamdani, when you look at Letitia James, because they're both members of the Working Families Party, they are the products of a machine. They are the end result. They were manufactured by this machine for public consumption. You wonder why people got to where they are? This is why. They're manufactured by a machine funded by billionaires, primarily Soros, but we also have other money coming in from billionaires in Silicon Valley in California.
I guess you filed a formal complaint with the Internal Revenue Service. The question is, of course, will the IRS take action quickly enough to prevent these same kind of abuses from taking place in the general election? Today, I see the mayor's race continuing to be in flux with some slight movement, which we'll talk about here in a moment. But Sam, do you think there is a chance that the IRS will move expeditiously to stop these illegal activities?
It depends upon the commissioner of the IRS. Webb is the commissioner of the IRS, can direct resources, can overrule section heads, etc. You know, the government is an entrenched bureaucracy. One thing I learned is it's not so much the agency, it's who it is at the agency that gets things done. I believe what we have is a massive tax fraud scheme. I believe that there's over $1 billion the IRS can collect. That's my belief. Okay, I believe that these people engaged in illegal election interference. I believe in a lot of things, but you know something? The IRS has to investigate. I provided documents. I filed 3 supplemental submissions to the IRS. I've filed plenty of documents showing them the trail, and it's up to them. If they can't put it together, then they're incompetent.
If you're just tuning in, folks, we're talking to professional fraud investigator Sam Antar. He has examined the claims by the Federal Housing Finance Agency Director Bill Pulte, a story which broke this morning that suggests that Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook has committed a criminal offense by allegedly falsifying bank documents and property records to acquire more favorable mortgage loan terms. So this is now more than just a claim by Mr. Pulte. It has now been documented by our guest, Sam Antar, who I can tell you is extraordinarily meticulous in any assertion that he makes. I have been very impressed by his research. By the way, go to his website, whitecollarfraud.com. You'll see that he documents everything he says. And now he has come forward to say that the allegations put forward by the director of the FHFA, who, by the way, oversees both Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the nation's two largest governmental mortgage agencies, are, in Sam's opinion, you heard it yourself, accurate, and that this is an open and shut case. This is a little different than the allegations of various politicians cheating on their mortgages, because in the event that Cook is forced to resign, and the president does have the authority to fire her for cause, well, that would shift the balance on the Federal Reserve, which would lead, I think, very quickly to an interest rate cut for the American people. Something that I think, based on the current rate of inflation and the current rate of unemployment, is merited. It's extraordinary that the last four times that the Federal Reserve cut interest rates, unemployment and inflation were either lower than or at the exact same place they are today. Don't go away. We'll be back with Sam Antar right here in the Stone Zone right after this brief break.
Prime delivery is fast. How fast are we talking? We're talking puzzle toys and lickpad delivered so fast you can get this puppy under control fast. We're talking chew toys at your door without really waiting fast. Pee pads, cooling mat, and peg timer fast and fast. And there's training TREATS faster than you can say sit fast. And now we can all relax and order these matching hoodies to get cozy and cute fast. Fast free delivery. It's on Prime.
I'm Ashley Graham, and as a parent, I know the back-to-school transition can be a lot. When it comes to wellness, Ollie supports me and my family through it all. Kids Multi is big in my house. It supports their immune system, and they love to take it. A win-win for everyone. Shop these products at ollie.com or retailers nationwide. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Hellmann's believes they can turn any mayo hater into a lover. So, if you know someone who thinks mayo equals bland, show their taste buds the truth and challenge them to try Hellmann's flavored mayo. With irresistible flavors like Hellmann's spicy mayo, garlic aioli, chipotle, and Italian herb, they'll be eating their words. Challenge haters to try Hellmann's flavored mayo and get them to eat their words. Learn more at hellmanns.com/eatyourwords.
Buenos dias! Café Bustelo espresso-styled iced coffee is hitting refrigerators with a cold front that'll sweep through your senses. So keep the coffee pours long and the cold sip slow. Café Bustelo está aquí.
The Stone Zone. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And you're back in the zone with Roger Stone. We're talking to Sam Antar, who is the editor and publisher of whitecollarfraud.com. He is the man who first uncovered the serial mortgage fraud by New York Attorney General Letitia James. Also today on the show, confirming that Federal Reserve Board Governor Lisa Cook has engaged in mortgage fraud, signing agreements that stipulated that she would use two different properties, one in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and one outside of Atlanta, Georgia, as her principal legal residence, thus getting a state tax break in both states, but also qualifying for lower mortgage rates. Only a year later, she listed the Georgia property for rent, meaning it could not possibly be her principal residence. You heard it from Sam Antar, who is an expert on these matters. Sam, here are the latest overnights from the tracking poll being done by Kaplan and Associates. This is 1,000 samples citywide. The way this works is every night you take a new 100 samples and you drop the oldest 100 samples, so you have a rolling 1,000 sample overall to determine the direction and changes in the race. Today, if the election were held today, the Ayatollah Zoran Makdami has dropped from 37 to 36. Andrew Cuomo dropped from 22 to 21. Curtis Sliwa up by a couple points, now at 19, up from previously being at 16. And in last place, the current incumbent mayor, Eric Adams, bringing up the rear position at 13. Slight increase in undecided, went from 8 to 11. Not unusual when you have this kind of volatility in any given election. Your thoughts about the current state of the mayor's race, Sam?
In 1969, there was a race in Chile with Salvador Allende. Remember Allende? That was during the Nixon administration, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. He won the presidency of Chile. He was a socialist. He won the presidency of Chile with 36% of the vote. What does Mamdani have? 37, you just said?
36.
Okay. What we are seeing in New York is a repeat of what happened in 1969 in Chile when they elected a socialist and the ongoing chaos that ensued afterwards. This is what's going on in New York today. What needs to be done is between the three other candidates, two of them have to drop out. Now, you can have your preference as to who should stay. We can get that. We get that, okay? Politics is politics. But two of them have to drop out. Otherwise, Mamdani wins the mayoral race.
I'm afraid I think that is a shrewd and accurate analysis. I'm afraid we have to leave it there. Sam, thanks for joining us today in the Stone Zone, and